gorilla stomping in a zoo. Check the vocals, animals gather right.
Welcome back, everybody, for another episode of the Chicken Coop build series. So we're definitely getting up there in episodes now, but we're also getting to the finish line very soon. So this episode, going to be doing some fun stuff, but we're going to start off and finish out from our last episode with the windows and door. And what we're going to be doing is putting some rigid foam insulation into those frames that we made, covering over with plywood, and they'll be ready to mount after that. Once we get that part done, got a little special something that I'm going to be doing with the main door, and that might take a little bit of time, but hopefully not too much. And hopefully we'll get that all wrapped up in time. We'll get into doing some trim, and depending on how well that goes, we'll see how long that takes. We might be able to get it all done, but I'm not going to think too crazy about it all, you know. Anyways, when we do get to the trim though, I'll tell you right now, I got a little special something that's going to brighten my day. I know that, and it may brighten yours. And we're looking at having a whole lot of fun. So, no more nonsense. Let's get to work. To begin, we are going to lay out our windows and doors on the table, like so. We'll get these cavities filled up with some rigid foam, and we'll be ready to cover that over with plywood. As a result now of having to thin out these frames last episode to something less than 2 inches, I can't use my sheets of 2-inch foam, which I have plenty of. So instead I'm left to use this 1.5 inches, of which I have scraps. So at least it's going to be covered up in plywood, but I'm pretty much left having to make a puzzle out of all this. Nothing too spectacular, you know, just gotta try and make the best of it. So I'm just gonna hold the pieces over the holes, mark where they need to be cut, and it's just as simple as grabbing a straight edge, making the cut, and filling those in. I'm going to spare you those details, and I'll let you see when I finish the foam. Shouldn't take very long at all. Actually, come to think of it, since we may have some new viewers who never saw the rigid foam going in the ceiling on the inside, I'll just show you real quick with one piece. What I did was line up where I feel the cut needs to be made. I made a mark with my carpenter knife, okay, like so, and then I made a similar mark on the other side. From there, I'm going to have my blade out as far as I can, since I'm only working about 3/4 of the blade here. Put my straight edge between my markings, and you're going to want to cut straight down as possible. Don't cut in on an angle. You want to be straight down. This blade needs to be changed. We ran into the same issue during the sealing. So once you've made a sufficient cut, and then take your piece and crack it down. Now this edge here is still a bit rough and needs to be straightened out. So you'll see now we're almost at the correct width. I just got to take some of these little curves off of this side. I'll just do this with one piece with you guys, just so any new viewers get the idea. Alright, from there we're very close to that fitting now. probably change my blade off camera as well. Alright, so I think we're close enough there now to have a nice fit. Push it up against the far end. There you go, nice tight fit the whole way along. And then my other bit of scrap that I cut off of this one, I'll do a similar process with that. I actually take off the tongue, because they're kind of a tongue and groove design, these ones. Make a cut to match up with my other. And I can pretty much do that one by eye. Like so. Alright, so now we'll just need to take a little smidge, a little tiny bit off the side. There we go, just like a little biscuit. In it goes. So this one is done, and I'll lay this aside until we're ready to do the plywood. So I'll go ahead, do these other three in the exact same manner, and we'll be right back. And here you go, this is the finished pieces. Wasn't too bad, managed to use the scraps quite well. And yeah, we got her done. So, next on the list is the big door. And that's going to be a project above what we thought it was going to be. So without further ado, I'll put these away somewhere safe. I'll get the door, come back here, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Here is the main door, okay? It's painted. It's got a little frame behind it that we did last time. It's pretty much ready to mount, with one exception. This is not how I want it to be mounted. My plan for this coupe, and the plan was there before I even put the frame on this, is for a bipartition door, or a top and bottom to it, okay? Because if I got the little chicks in there while they're growing, I plan on having them in the coupe. I don't plan on taking them in the house, because we're getting to a warm enough point in the year that I should be able to put a brooder in there, no problem, and they should be able to survive fine. And I want to be able to look in the coop without opening up the main door and chicks run out or you know, whatnot. I just want to be able to open the top part of the door, look in, put the kids in through, let them go in and play inside, whatever. Either way, the half door is my preference. On top of that, I want another window. This door is going to be southerly facing, and that's where the sun first comes up in the morning. And I want that sun to make it into the coop to start warming it up. So I'm looking at a 1x1 window in the upper half, and then a solid bottom half. Okay? So what I'm going to do is get it measured. So we're looking at 43 1/4 inches there, 43 1/4. So yeah, that's equal all the way across. So I'm looking at, say, 21 1/2 inches down to making the cut for it to be half. All right, 21 1/2. 21 1/2. 21 1/2. Right, so I left screws out of this area on purpose because my intention is, and this is where it could all go wrong, I'm hoping the skill saw will do a full width or a full depth cut through 3/4 inch board and 1.5 inch high board. Right, so 2 1/4 or so. So that's my hope. And we know from last time how my hopes usually turn out. They turn out with trouble is how they turn out. But I want the door cut in half, and that's what I'm going to get. Now after it's cut in half, I want a centralized window here. Since we're going to do the cuts, I might as well do the window at the same time. So width-wise, we're looking at 24 3/4. And let's just get the midpoint of that, which is 12 and almost a half. Let's say just 12 3/8. And then I want the midpoint from the 21 1/2, which is 10 3/4. So let's do 10 3/4. Let's do it at that mark. So 10 3/4. This should be the middle of the window right there. Now, so in order to get a 1 foot window at that midpoint, I measure 6 inches off to either side. Now if I had a bigger square, it would be nice. I'll have to just use a straight edge. Kind of debating just joining these and making a star-shaped window. That might be pretty cool. Just like a diamond window. No, I'll stick with the square. That's what I'll do. There we go. That is the hard way of marking out a 1 foot square centered on the upper part of a door. What do you think? Do you think we did it? 1 foot by 1 foot. And let's see if it's square. 16 7/8 by 17. Close enough. 1/8 off on the squareness. That's good with me. Alright, so with that said, we'll get ready to cut and see what we come out with. Here we go for the cutting of the door. But before we do, just going to check. Make sure your saw is at its maximum depth. Now I shouldn't be telling you guys to do this because I highly doubt there's many of you going to be copying my methodology for doing some of this stuff. So what did we say? We said 3/4 inch for the plywood plus 1.5 inches for the 2x4. So 3/4 and 1.5 inches is 2 1/4. The depth of this is pretty much exactly 2 1/4. So we got a pretty good chance of getting through it all. Let's hope for the best. And let's hope we don't mess up the door altogether. What do you think? Did we get all the way through? Well, that's a no. We're only off by about 1/8 of an inch, so I'll just grab my handsaw real quick. Easy as that. This side is just barely hanging on. There we go. So what do you call those doors anyways? I'm sure I could ask Google, but how about you guys look it up and put it in the comments what you call these divided doors. I'm not even going to look it up right now to say it in the video. Let's see if you can find that information. So, now that we have our door cut in half, the next thing to do is to put some wood here, some wood there, and then fill in the cavities with the rigid foam, and then we'll plywood over everything. Alright, so I'm going to scrounge around, find some wood that will fill these gaps, and it may just be a piece of 2x4. If this is exactly 1.5 inches high, close on 2 inches to be honest with you. Alright, I'm going to find something to fill this. If I can fit that 2-inch foam board in there, it's going in. Alright, let's go. I've done some extra measurements on the door. The space is a little bit less than 2 inches in depth, but not enough to worry about, so we will be able to use the 2-inch foam. The only thing is to fill off those spots at the top. I'm going to have to strip another 2x4, and I'll strip that to 2 inches wide, and we'll also make the window frame out of that as well while we're doing it. So it'll be a dual purpose 2x4. Alright, so I'm just going to set the saw up, get that done, and we'll keep moving forward. There we have our 2-inch piece. So we'll get that cut to length onto the door, and I'm also going to plunge out the window, and we'll frame that up as well. Let's do that next. There's the bottom half of the door. So all we need to do with this part is join this together, insulate it, and we'll put it aside for when we do all the plywood. This one, on the other hand, we're going to have to do the framing, but then we also need to do the plunge cut and frame out the window on the inside. So there's actually a ledge there to put the poly into, or the plexi, I mean. So, first thing to do is join these open gaps. This one is 20 7/8, and these were right next to each other at one point in time. So yes, 20 7/8 for both. So I'll get those cut and we'll get them screwed in. And there it is. That'll be just fine. Alright, let's get those screwed in. Gotta have our obligatory glue. In case you missed it, we saw last episode just how strong that wood glue actually is. If you want to go back and have a look, and just in case you're thinking it, yes, I'll probably need to go back and put a new coat of paint on this by the time I'm done scratching it around the bench here. And that is secure. Now, we're going to do this plunge cut. Do that after I screw in the other one here. Lay this aside so we don't bump it around. Let's get our glue on here. And I'll get that into place. So I just realized, I'm sure you noticed the angle change, that I still had you pointed over towards the miter saw, so I'm not sure if you saw the other side or not, but this is pretty much how it went. Alright, the glue as usual. And what I did, where this 2 inches is just like less than 1/8 above the other, probably only like a 1/16 or so. What I did just to help it settle down a little more is I'm drilling up at an angle into it. That way the screw will kind of haul it down in place as well. You kind of notice here that it hauled this side down and this side up. So now I'm going to repeat that over here without making it bulge the plywood, of course. Should hopefully not make it bulge too much or anything. And then I'll screw upwards into this one as well. There we are. And then I just flip that over. And screw that in place. Okay, happy, happy? Joy, joy? Joy. Alright, and we'll just pop an extra in right there, since we were a bit skimpy on this side when we first did it, because we knew we were coming back to cut it. But it should all be glued down solid by now. Now it's extra solid. So that's the bottom ready for insulation. Okay. good solid fit. Like I say, you see that little 1/16 extra kind of sticking above there. Just take a little bit of that down. That'll help the plywood settle around it. It won't be as noticeable. There we go. So that's the bottom half ready for plywood. So now we'll take up the main door top and get that ready for the plunge cuts. So I just want to barely hang it on. So we got lots of room to plunge into it. So let's plunge into this bad boy. We've done this many times, haven't we? Let's go backwards a little smidge. Okay, we got that much done. Pencil on red is not the easiest to see. Okay, that's 2 cuts done. 2 to go. Three down, 1 to go. Now, that was something you didn't think you'd see today, wasn't it? Yes, sir. Alright, boys and girls, we're getting wild in here. Time to frame this up. That's a fine looking hole. Fine looking hole. So let's grab us some framing wood. Get some measurements of this. So you'll go all the way across here, all the way across here, and then we'll just join the middle. 27/8, 27/8. Time to cut. So with those cuts made, we'll get those fit in place. Make sure that's nice and squared in there. Pretty sure that's equal across there. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. This is the one I think I maybe went off on a little bit of a tangent when I did this one. But that's going to be fixed when we do the trim. So in the meantime, we can get our frame put in. Get that lined up here. Tack that along on the outside as well. The glue is going to give us a strong fix, but we're going to rock this out with some more screws anyways. Okay, two is good enough for there. Alright, so now actually have almost a perfect fit. But the problem is, this one piece is all I have left of my 2-inch stuff that I made. So I'll probably just cut this much off of a 2x4 and strip it, rip it. Might as well do it right. Alright, we'll be back. So off camera, as you can see, I put in the insulation in these 2 gaps here. I hauled out the table saw again, made our new piece to fit in here. Alright, so that'll frame up our window. And so what we're going to do now, get these put in place, insulate these 2 caverns, and then the upper door is ready for the plywood. I think that's enough for there. Plywood will hold that in from the other side as well. Alright, so we're not going to get to see this hung until we actually finish the trim on the doors. So next on the list, insulate these 2 pockets, and then we're going to get on to the plywood. And here we have the upper side finished door, minus the plywood, of course. There you go. I think that turned out quite nice. Now, time to get on to the plywooding. Alright, hopefully that won't take too long. A few cuts, a few small ones, a few big ones. And screw it all down, and we'll have our windows and doors ready to mount. And then there's only one stage left, and that's trim and mounting, and we're golden from there on out. The only thing left then is the nesting box cover, and I think I have figured out how I'm going to do it, so we'll get to that later. Alright, you probably hear lawnmowers and everything going outside. It's that time of the evening. So I'll just continue on now. We'll get the skill saw to cover up the sound of them mowers. And get the plywood on here. And we'll see how we're doing on time after that. See if we want to get into something bigger. First on the list is going to be the clean out door. I found a piece of scrap plywood that fits. So we'll just get our measurement, 40 inches exactly by, let's say 5 7/8. So move this down on this end. We'll start off with the length cut. Just like that. Liner up here. This one. Just like that. Now let's see what we got. We are good. Let's put the painted side in. That's not too bad, is it? A little bit fancy. Fancy for a chicken coop at least. Don't know if you'd want me building a house for you or anything, but I can do a chicken coop. Might take me over a month to do a chicken coop, but I can do one. Alright, let's keep going. Next, little clean out door. Not the clean out door, but the chicken exit. Now, instead of relying on measurements, how about we do this? What do you think? Is that fair? I think that's fair. Now, let's see if it fits. Like a glove. There you go. That is another one done. Let me tell you, it really helps to keep your scraps lying around until at least the project is done. Because this is wonderful, finding these little pieces that I can just give a quick how's she going to. Give it the quick once over, the 1-2 love tap. So not only do we have lawnmowers, now we got helicopters. That's it, you get the full experience here. Hope you got your Dolby 5.1 on. Alright, there's our markings for that. Let's get that ripped. Nice and quick. Here we go. Say hello to my little friend. You're probably thinking to yourself at this point in time, if he had been this efficient doing this coop, he probably would have been done weeks ago. There we go. Another one. Another one done. Alright, second window. Another small piece. I don't even know where this piece came from. It looks like it was a cutout window. Maybe it was from the inside, now that I think about it. Because I never kept the inside one, I just kept the outside for making the shutter. I think that might be what this is. Here we go, another one ready to cut. There we go, that window is complete. Now for the big boy, the door. Let's do the relatively easy one first. Alright. This is a very nice piece. I don't even know where this piece came from. This is really nice and it's great for the inside of the door. There's like barely even a knot or anything in this. The other side isn't even too bad either. What do you think? Do we want the knotty look or this one? I think we'll just go for the clean look. Square all that up like so. Beautiful. Let's get some screws in this before it jumps away on us. There we are. That's the bottom half of the door done. That turned out a lot nicer than I deserve. So now it is time for the final piece that needs plywood. And the one that's going to be the trickiest, of course. But we do have another nice piece of plywood here. Still don't really know where it came from. Not going to complain though. Now we're going to have to be a bit knotty on this side because this one has wood filler on it. And I don't really care to have that out when I have such a nice piece on the bottom. So we're going to have a knotty side and a nice side. Alright? So be it. Now the window's going to cut most of these knots out anyways, but that was fun to say at least. Okay. Let us get this cut to size first and then take the window out. I think that'll be the easier way, maybe. Could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong. Not often, but I've been known to be wrong. Just kidding. Okay, looks like we got our markings. So I'll go ahead and cut that, and then I'll put a couple of screws in it and then trace the window out. That's the plan. A couple of temporary screws in that now. Then we'll trace out the window, take it off, and do the plunge cuts for that. Now we will do our plunge cuts for the window, screw that on, and the door and window panelings will all be complete. Two down, two to go. Three down, one to go. And for all you Bruce Lee fans out there, oh, there we go. Oh, we actually left a little chunk. On to the attachment. Okay, so with that cut, we will now fit it into place, square it all up. Looks to be on point. Let's start with one right in on the window. Start from the inside out. So there we have the main door complete, ready to be hung. Nice window, ready to put some plexiglass in, along with the window in the back. The side windows are going to have mesh, but this one will have plexi, so will the back. And that turned out great. Absolutely wonderful. Alright, so at the beginning of this episode, I kind of alluded to, I don't know if I said a special tool, special surprise. We're not going to get to it, unfortunately, and I apologize. This just took more time than I thought it was going to be honest with you. We went from full sunset rays coming in here, beaming off my face, to it's pretty much dark outside now. So, we're going to finish the episode here. I know the last episodes have been pretty long again. They're all kind of hindering on that, hitting on that 1 hour mark. And most people don't watch that long. For those of you that do, I really appreciate it. But most people don't. And that's something I accept. I try to get as much into the video as I can. And whatever time it ends up being is the time it ends up being. So as far as this one goes, I'm thinking in my head that I can not get close to that 1 hour mark by stopping right now. I pretty much have my fill right now anyways. Not that it was overly hard. Tonight was actually quite enjoyable. We kind of just went with the flow, got those the doors and windows finished up. They're ready to be mounted. So I think next episode is pretty much going to be the big deal, right? I think next episode we might get the finishing touches on the chicken coop, with the exception of the nesting box. The only reason that we're not getting the nesting box finished is because I need the roofing tin to go on it that I plan on putting on it. So without that, so pending another trip to Home Depot, and hopefully they got it, I may not have that material in time for next episode. And I'm thinking that maybe the nesting box and the roof can be combined into one as the grand finale, but as far as what the chicken coop is going to look like, minus those couple of aspects, next episode is going to be it, right? I got nothing after this but trim and mounting the doors and windows. So that's pretty exciting. So if you made it to this point in the video, you now know what the next episode's going to bring. Because windows and doors are done. Paint is done. Trim is already painted. Just needs to be cut to size and shape and length and put on there. Alright, so we're looking forward to next episode. Alright, I don't know when that'll occur. But this was definitely a feel-good episode. I like the flow of things. We didn't hit any big snags that I can think of anyways. Maybe I got them repressed in my mind and I'll see them again on film tonight and get depressed. No, I won't. Alright, enough joking around. We're just going to end off this episode on a high note. We got this much done. We are ready for next episode. Next episode is going to be so exciting, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But I think the next episode is going to be even better. It is what it is. Alright. And I'm looking forward to this being done. Alright, I'm sure you guys are by now. Anyone who's watched every episode, we're up to like 23 now. You know, this has been going even at a video a day, that's over 3 weeks. But we've been at this a lot longer. I'm pretty sure we're at this over a month now at the very least. And yeah, that's about it. I think we're good to finish up there. So until next time, hit that like button, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. Alright, my comment section is dying for your opinions and comments, but I thank you for the thumbs up that I've been getting. And I appreciate you watching. Alright, I hope you're learning from this somehow, or at least getting motivated, starting your own project, starting your own chicken coop, ordering your chickens, researching, deep diving into the whole chicken and garden thing, because that's what I've been doing, and it's enjoyable, and the hands-on bit is enjoyable as well, even with its ups and downs. All right, until next time, I hope you're happy, hope you're healthy, take care of each other, and peace out.